Integrative Inquiry, Week 4 Practice, Self-Compassion.
Just inviting you to just notice you're coming into this space. So you're noticing you're sitting in a chair in the room. And see if you can sit as comfortably as you'd like, any way you like. Just let your eyes close if you'd like to, or you can look on the screen, look at something like this tree, as if you're looking at it, but not really seeing it, just a soft gaze. Let's just see if you can invite in a gentle listening to the sounds in the room. Just noticing attention gently wandering to sounds that are in the room. See if you can just allow the sounds to come to you gently. Now with your eyes either closed or partially looking down or looking on this image in that soft gaze, see if you can notice the body in the room. So bringing a gentle attention to the body in this room full of sound. Invite in a gentle welcoming, a welcoming of yourself to this space and time. Maybe even playing with an inner silent greeting and a soft smile. Welcome. You intended to be here, you arrived, and you're here. And see if you can greet yourself with that attention and that full awareness, loving kindness awareness, as you greet a good friend or a best friend or a loved being. Just greeting yourself and arriving here in this space and time. And then see if you can gently drop your attention into the body, the sensations, the physiological sensations of the body. Just noticing what there is to notice with a gentleness and a kindness. You might notice pleasant sensations or unpleasant sensations. Or neutral sensations. Inviting a gentle exploration of these sensations in the body. Noticing whether there's an ebb and flow to them. And as you notice pleasant sensations, seeing if you can be with them in a way that seems to show gratitude or appreciation, or just like a little savoring of, pleasant, yummy. And then if you notice any unpleasant sensations, what is it like to be with those with a gentleness, sort of a gracious space? Seeing if you can allow for them to be there. Getting curious about their qualities. What does unpleasant feel like? Or neutral, what does neutral feel like? What are you noticing? And then if you do notice any uneasiness, see what it's like to remind yourself that you are not alone. That it's part of this human condition to notice uneasiness in the body. You are not alone. There is someone on the planet who's experienced uneasiness like this in their bodies. Maybe not in this exact moment in time or in the room with you, but you're not alone in this. And see if that thought of not alone allows the heart to soften. Maybe even the body to soften around this sensation of unease or dis-ease. Just inviting in again that tenderness that you would have toward a good friend, a loved one, a being that you care deeply about. And perhaps you might even offer yourself some words of encouragement as you notice this discomfort in the body. Maybe some soothing words like, it's okay. Of course you feel this way. Who wouldn't feel this way? And then see if you can playfully invite in some appreciation of the effort and the good intention that brought you here. Right here to this space and time. This moment of practice. Perhaps noticing this is already an act of self-compassion. Took intention, desire, and action to arrive here. And then again with a gentle notice of the body in the chair, perhaps anchoring the feet on the floor, inviting your eyes to open. Welcome. Welcome. What did you notice in this practice? Feel free to open up your chat window. It's a conversation bubble, or you can use your cursor to swirl around if you can't find the conversation bubble and click on the conversation bubble. And then you'll see the chat window. What did you notice as you practice the self-compassion arriving practice, a practice from Kristen Neff and Chris Germer as a part of their 8-week self-compassion course, mindful self-compassion course? What did you notice as you practice that particular practice? Perhaps you noticed mind wandering, right? We've talked about that, mind wandering to the past and the future, that normal mind wandering aspect, that 47% of the time our minds are wandering. Maybe you notice some resistance, Maybe you notice some yum, like, ooh, this is yummy, or maybe you notice some yuck. Maybe you noticed some neutrality, but what did you notice? Feel free to share your thoughts. Aja noticed a mind wandering, and I have to bring it back to the breathing to help center. Yes, and I hear a lot of awareness. Aja, you noticed, right? Mind wandering, and you practiced the practice of bringing it back to right here, right now, using the breath. Yeah, to soothe the physiology of mind wandering and bringing it back. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. What else did you notice? Brid, you notice that somehow reassured and appreciative of my intention and effort, even if it doesn't always bring the results I'd like. Yeah, like the seed of peace. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brid. Yes. So noticing and honoring the effort, the intention, the attention to the action to bring us to a place of discovery, of practice. Thank you, Brid. Yeah. And yeah, and this noticing of sometimes the practice doesn't always go as we expected. Yeah. So just noticing that. Yeah. Thank you. So in this practice of self-compassion, of mindful self-compassion, we'll invite you to think of treating yourself as a best friend. And in our lecture, we talked about this. You know, best friend is someone who loves you when you forget to love yourself. A best friend is typically, and it could be, you know, a human, a best friend. It could be an animal that's a best friend. But a best friend is someone who you notice that you are just pouring out all this grace and love, even when they don't show up as their best selves. Yes. And so in the invitation of self-compassion, we're inviting you to bring this energy that you bring to another back to yourself, treating yourself as your own best friend. So having said that, what are some thoughts and ideas that arise when you think of this? What are some thoughts and ideas that you notice when you think of treating yourself as your own best friend? What do you notice? Then again, you can open up that conversation bubble to use the chat window, or if you can't find the conversation bubble, just use your cursor, swirl it around, find the conversation bubble, click on it, and it'll open up your chat window. So when I was first invited into these mindful self-compassion practices, I noticed a lot of resistance. I just noticed a lot of, no, that feels, I couldn't even put the word on it. Like I couldn't describe it as selfish. I couldn't say that I was undeserving of it. Like it just didn't feel normal. It didn't feel normal. Felt weird. And it was really my curiosity that thought, okay, there's all this research in this. Why don't I just jump in and try it? Like, I'll just try it. I'll see what it feels like. And we're about to practice one of these practices now. So if you're noticing any sort of resistance or this doesn't really feel right, I'm not sure about that, or sometimes people think, oh, if I'm not hard on myself, I won't accomplish all I need to accomplish. Something like that. Yeah, thanks, Brid. Like self-conscious, vulnerable, exposed, unsure what to do, but feels a bit stupid, but you want to experience it. Yeah, it does. It does feel like that. That's totally, I'm still, well, I've been practicing this, you know, and I've taken the deep dive training with Kristen Neff and Chris Kermer, and I still, when I approach these, I still notice that little bit of, not sure, right? What's going to happen here? Yeah, it does feel very vulnerable. It's turning this lens in and offering kindness to what I'm noticing as I turn the lens in. It was easier for me to turn the lens in with mindfulness and be objective and kind of curious. That was easier than turning the lens in and offering kindness. So that may or may not be your experience, and whatever you're experiencing, please know that it's true for you and it's to be held with reverence and honor. Okay. So this next practice is this practice to, and again, I invite you to adopt a comfortable seated position. You might notice the feet on the floor, the seat in the chair, the back upright, get relaxed. Noticing where your hands are placed, just sensing the feeling of where the hands are placed. Then inviting the eyes to soften, close, or again, look down on this image and stop the video. So you're looking at something that's not moving. Soft gaze. And gently anchoring attention on the breath sensation in the body. Just noticing that inhale and exhale. Then let's invite in that image of the best friend, wherever that being is for you. You might notice some physiological response to just the thought of inviting in an image of the best friend. See if you can take note of that. What you're noticing in the body is the physiological response to the image of the best friend in your mind. And as you think of that best friend, think of a time where you noticed they were struggling. Perhaps they shared a struggle with you. And as you imagine that memory, return to that memory of the time your best friend was sharing a struggle with you. What did you notice about your physiology, what you were experiencing in the body as your best friend was sharing that difficult experience with you? What did you notice in relationship to the desire to ease your best friend's pain and suffering? What did you notice? Was there a desire? Did you reach out with a soothing touch to offer a soothing touch to your best friend? Were there soothing words that you offered? And did you first validate their experience as a valid experience, as a valid emotional response to their experience? Did you connect with them somehow, verbally or non-verbally, in that space? And in the words that you offered, were they soothing? Were they problem solving? Were they rescuing? What did you notice? The qualities of the words that you offered your best friend in their moment of experiencing some challenge. Now let's see if you can release that image of your best friend and that memory. And invite yourself again, once again, to anchor in the chair, just pressing the feet on the floor. You might open your eyes if they were closed. Like press your seat firmly into your chair, or bring a hand to your belly to check in to see if you're breathing. Just anchoring back in. Then let's see if you can invite in, again, a closing of the eyes, gentle closing of the eyes, and invite in an image of a coworker. A coworker who may have experienced a challenge. Nothing dramatic, just a mild challenge, something that you witnessed where a coworker was experiencing a challenge. What did you notice as your physiological response to your coworker experiencing a challenge? Did you notice validation of their emotional experience? Did you notice connecting with them in their challenge in some way, verbally or non-verbally? Did you notice perhaps offering soothing words or soothing touch to your coworker? And in your soothing words, did you notice the quality of the soothing words? Was it validation, soothing what's there, offering to problem solve or fix or rescue? What did you notice? Let's see if we can release that image of the coworker who's having a challenge. Again, grounding into the body in the chair, feet on the floor, seat pressed firmly into the chair. Bringing a hand to the belly again, just getting curious about whether you're breathing, the quality of the breath, sensation. Now let's invite in an image of you having a mild challenge, like a 4 on the 1 to 10 scale. Just a mild challenge. What are you noticing as you bring in this memory of your challenge, your difficult situation? As you think about this situation, what are you noticing in your physiological sensations in the body? Are you noticing a desire to alleviate that discomfort? And in that desire, are you noticing a validation of this difficult experience? Maybe validating the emotions you're sensing or the experience itself. How are you connecting with or avoiding this experience? What does that look like for you in this situation? And are you offering yourself soothing words or soothing touch in this difficult experience? Are you noticing the quality of those words? Are they soothing? Are they fixing? Are they problem solving? What are you noticing? And then as you notice what you notice, let's see if we can now just release that image. And you might even want to stand up and shake it off. We just shake up all those images or stay sitting and just shake them off. And bring your attention gently back to right now, just noticing the body in the chair, the feet on the floor, seat in the chair. Back upright, get relaxed. I'm checking in to see if you're breathing. Maybe bringing a hand to the belly or the chest, or even in front of the mouth. Breathing. Maybe even some 4-count box breathing where you're exhaling for 4 counts, holding the exhale for 4 counts, inhaling for 4 counts, holding the inhale for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts. Repeating if you'd like. While you're either repeating the box breathing or shaking out, what do you notice? What did you notice in that practice? And please, again, feel free to use the chat window. What did you notice? Did you notice a difference in the way you greeted your best friend, your coworker, and yourself? With compassion? With soothing, did you notice any differences in the way you validated, acknowledged, connected with? Soothing touch, soothing words. What did you notice? And if you feel comfortable, please feel free to share your thoughts in the chat window. Yeah, so sometimes people notice a difference in the way they're responding to the best friend who's in pain and suffering, or the coworker, and the self. Yeah. And feel free again to use the chat window with thoughts, observations, what you noticed, experiences, or questions. And when I first practiced this practice, I noticed like lots of space and gentleness sort of in that beginning practice. Lots of space, lots of softening, lots of generosity toward the best friend who is experiencing the difficult emotion. And with the coworker, I noticed less generosity, because I noticed like the deadline, like we got to get the work done, right? So, I noticed a connecting with and an offering, but more I jumped to problem solving, right? Problem solving because we got to get the work done. Yeah, and then with myself, I just noticed like almost like when I first practiced this, an ignoring of trying to soothe and go right to fixing. I got to fix this, right? This can't be this way. So Joan, thank you for sharing. You're sharing not so much a difference. Other than that, I responded to both by seeking closer proximity to each. But with my best friend, I felt more of an acceptance of me being in that space. Yeah, I hear a lot of awareness, more of an acceptance of you being in close proximity. Is that what you mean, Joan? Or more of an acceptance from yourself of being in close proximity. So just checking in on that, Joan. Both, yeah, from self and other. Yeah, thank you. Yes, so hear a lot of awareness. And Bridge, you noticed some levels drop back from friend to colleague, finally down to a complete lack of awareness for myself. Yeah, this is a common, thank you, Brad, for sharing. This is a common experience when people begin first practicing self-compassion. And so this is why we call it mindful self-compassion, because we can't bring a desire to alleviate pain and suffering where there is no awareness of pain and suffering. We can't bring a desire to alleviate pain and suffering where there is no awareness of that pain and suffering. And this is why a lot of these compassion practices and self-compassion practices really open themselves up to repairing inequities and to decreasing implicit bias and stereotype threat. Right? And so in this context, we're bringing that softness, that gentleness, that generosity of either soothing touch, kindness, gentleness, validation towards ourselves, just as we would our best friend. And then at work, the invitation here is to see where you might be able to tune that up at work. Because again, I don't know about you, but I don't always know what my colleagues are experiencing, even the ones that I'm closest to. I don't know what they're experiencing and how that's influencing how they show up at work. And so just I keep inviting myself to soften when I notice their pain and suffering, tune up my awareness, what is this? And as you mentioned, Joan, sort of gauging, is a soothing touch welcomed, or is just being with what is unfolding welcomed, with a gentleness and a validation, and an honoring, a holding of reverence. Yeah. So please again use that chat window to share your thoughts, what you're noticing, questions or comments. And basically, we're just returning to Paul Gilbert's fabulous work on compassionate mind. And I'm oversimplifying this again for time's sake. But in essence, when we have a stimulus, right, and either we see another's pain and suffering or we're experiencing pain and suffering ourselves, there's a tendency of the physiology to move into either a drive, like incentive, resource focus, like it's really activating that you wanna, I call this sort of the fix it, the problem solve, fix it, like it just jump right there, boom, boom, stimulus, pain and suffering, fix it. Okay. Or this self-protect or protect, like this got stimulated for me this morning and I was like, wow, I got to protect the integrity of this data and this protect the integrity of the people who've committed all their time to invested in all of this data warehousing. Like I just jumped right there, like my whole Brene Brown calls it mama bear. Like I was having my whole mama bear come out and it was like, I got to protect these people on this project and this thing. And I'm like, but I was still in like protection, yet I was in the fix it, the drive mode, right? And so what Paul Gilbert's inviting us into is that, you know, with the attention regulation, that pause, hit that pause button when we notice pain and suffering. When we notice fear, when we notice whatever, hit that pause button, anchor into the body and invite in the focusing of the breath sensation to soothe that physiological reaction, the threat focused or the incentive focused thing, and see what we can bring some soothing to this, just some being with the pain and suffering. And what happens in that space, well, what do you think happens in that space when we bring some soothing, some non-wanting to fix, non-wanting to protect? What happens? And again, when I'm talking about non-wanting to protect, remember we're honoring our survival, right? We're honoring this survival thing. Keep serving, keep inviting in your survival things that have served you well. But we're inviting them with the scope of of mindfulness to gently rest in restful awareness and noticing what we're noticing, to see, is this self-protect, to see if this is go fix this, to see if there's space for this offering of kindness, this connecting and validating the experience of pain and suffering for ourselves and for others. And then allowing just some gentle, kind being with before we move into inquiry and seeing what's here, what's noticed here. Yeah, so thoughts on that, questions, comments. Feel free to use the chat window. And while you're writing in there, I think of, have any of you seen, oh darn, now I'm going to forget the movie. It's a Disney movie on emotions. Do you remember what it's called? Does anybody remember what that's called? I think it's a Disney movie. It's emotions. It's got cartoon characters. Joy is a character in it. And I was thinking of, I can't remember what movie that is called, I'm sorry, but there's a scene in there. Whenever I see this image, I think of this Joy character trying to cheer up this sad character. Inside Out. Thank you, Aja. Inside Out. Yeah, Inside Out. That's it. And the Joy is, do you remember that scene where the Joy character is trying to soothe the character who's mourning the loss of something? And Joy isn't really soothing. Joy's trying to distract. Yeah, you remember that scene. Thank you. Joy's trying to distract. Joy's trying to say, oh, come here. She's trying to fix it. She's trying to really resist being with that character in their emotion. And then the other character comes in. I think it's the sadness character, comes in and sits down with that character who's in pain and suffering and is just like with them. With them, and the person is just, the character is just processing their mourning and their loss, and then they're like, okay, I'm ready now. Let's get up, And Joy's like, what happened then? Like, what was that? And I was like, oh my gosh, mindful compassion, mindful self-compassion. It's like this stuff in action. Yeah, Inside Out. It's a cool. It's a great teaching moment in that. Lesson moment in that. So what else are you noticing as you practice this? What's alive for you? Questions, comments, thoughts? Just waiting for the chat window to light up. And remembering that as we explore this, we're really honoring the survival. And in honoring it, we're resting it gently. So you can take up survival if you need to, but otherwise you can rest, knowing those survival skills are there if you need to take them up, but rest in mindful awareness to see what's here. So Ari is noticing fixing it is tempting. I've always liked the notion of bearing witness. Ooh, thank you. That's, yeah, bearing witness, being present, listening, and standing for your colleague, standing with your colleague. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Ari. Beautiful. And I think also that there's so many times, like how many of you are paid, like fixing stuff is in your job description, right? Like you got to fix it. You got to take care of it. You got to respond quickly and get that fire out. Yeah. I'm not alone. That's in 50% of my job description. Yeah, thank you, Britt. Yeah, so when we have it in our job description, especially when our coworkers are in pain and suffering, like I noticed it helps me to just speak to it. I'm like, whoa, fixing it is here. Do we want fixing it to be here, or do we want being with, standing with, bearing witness? Beautiful, Ari. Thank you. Bearing witness to be here. What is needed here? What is needed? Another mindful self-compassion practice, right? What is needed here? Yeah, thank you. Feel free to keep that chat window lit up, sharing what you're noticing. Yeah, so one of the things that's really helpful, that I have found helpful, and again, I'm speaking from my practice, feel free to share your practice, what is useful to you in the chat window, is this notion of the inner critic, greeting the inner critic with mindful self-compassion, sort of being with bearing witness to the inner critic before sweeping it away or ignoring it or resisting that it's there. So remember we talked about this neurology, the fight-flight neurology, the amygdala getting activated. And remember we talked about the amygdala not being that smart. It's part of the primitive brain development. Amygdala is not that smart. It will get activated from you telling me I'm an idiot in the chat window, from a grizzly bear running into my office, right? Or I'm noticing, I don't know if you heard the sirens that are going on outside the window, like I get a physiological activation from that, a fight flight, like is everything okay kind of thing. So some of these we need to just react and react to. We need that survival mode. But when it comes to the inner critic, the thoughts of I'm not enough, I can't do it, or I'm an idiot, that amygdala gets fired up just the same, and we get that physiological reaction. So what we're understanding from neurobiology is that this bearing witness, this being with what is, the noticing of what we're noticing the physiological responses, anchoring in the breath, not to sweep away, but to tune up awareness. We anchor in the breath, not to sweep away what we're noticing, but to tune up the inquiry of noticing what we're noticing. What is this? What is this? What are the sensations I'm noticing? What are the qualities? What are the thoughts? What are the emotions? What am I labeling? Yeah. So the soothing allows the reactiveness to calm, so we can really bear witness to what is. And then the self-compassion practice, and I love how Kristen Neff talks about self-compassion. She said, we're offering to meet our own pain and suffering with the desire to alleviate it, just as we would as we witness pain and suffering in another. Compassion has 4 parts. We'll talk about this more in the future. This feeling for, the understanding of, noticing the desire to alleviate, and then the action component, the actual alleviation, but in a co-created alleviation, not a rescuing alleviation, yeah, which can be what happens when fix it gets turned on. I know how to fix this, I'll fix this, right? There's not a co-creation of problem solving, right? So when we notice the inner critic, it ignites that amygdala. Bring a soothing breath. So we can do this right now if you'd like. Choosing a softer inner critic thought that you may have experienced today, yesterday, this past week, a moment when you noticed either, or you were shoulding, as my sister says, you were shoulding, S-H-O-U-L-D, shoulding on yourself. Right? That's an inner critic moment. So when you notice this, see if we can recall that moment. Maybe it just popped in. You might be noticing the physiological reactivity that gets ignited to that inner critic thought. Something of I'm not enough. Something of I should have known better, should have done better. Or just those moments where I'm a klutz, I'm an idiot, whatever it is that you've told yourself. Inviting in the sensation, attention of the breath sensation, or using the box breathing. Or one of the students that I served this morning reported to me that she loves that alternate nostril breathing, where you close both nostrils. I'm going to do this on video. I don't want to gross you out. But you close both nostrils and you open one and inhale in it while you have the other one closed. When you close the one that you've inhaled, you exhale out the closed one. You hold that exhale, you breathe in the inhale, and then you can alternate that. that might soothe that physiological reactivity. And then inviting the inquiry, what is this? The bearing witness, as Ari mentioned. What am I noticing? What physiological sensations are present? What are their qualities? What emotions am I noticing? What are their qualities? Thoughts am I noticing? What are their qualities? See if we can bear witness. What is this? And then say, if this is a moment of pain and suffering, let's just invite in a gentle naming of, this is pain, this is suffering. And see if we can connect with common humanity, noticing, others have experienced this. Maybe not in the same way, not in the same time. This is suffering. Others have experienced this. And maybe if the breath is soothed, maybe I can name the pain. Fear. Or, not enough. Out of control. Whatever it is that you're noticing, see if you can name it. If not, it's simply enough to say, yuck, pain, yuck, suffering. See if we can validate it. Of course I'm noticing this. Of course I'm sensing this. Who wouldn't sense this if they just experienced what I did? Told what I did or discovered what I did? Who wouldn't experience this? Yeah. And then see, you may notice I'm bringing a hand to the heart. That's my self-soothing touch. Just maybe play around with soothing touch. Bringing a hand to the belly. See if offering yourself a soothing touch. Maybe you want to hold your arms, stroke an arm. One hand to the heart. Both hands to the heart. Maybe hold your face. Rub your shoulders. Hold your hands, just playing around what feels soothing in your soothing touch. If it feels soothing at all, I'm just noticing that. See if you can notice some soothing words. So what do you notice? It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Or it's not okay. This sucks. You know? It sucks. And then seeing what you notice when you ask yourself this question: what do I need to hear in this moment of pain and suffering? What do I need to hear in this moment, pain and suffering? What do I need to hear? And just noticing what you're noticing. And perhaps if something came to you, perhaps you're silently or audibly saying those words to you now. Do you need to hear? And then moving into action, what do you need to do? What do you need to do to soothe this pain and suffering that won't harm yourself or harm another? What do you need to do in this moment of pain and suffering that won't harm yourself or another? And see if you can notice what's coming to mind. And maybe you're reaching for a pen and paper to journal what's coming to mind. Maybe you're not. No right or wrong, just noticing what you're noticing. And then in the next moment, maybe you're noticing a desire to act on what you noticed you need to do. Maybe you're taking your calendar, your diary, and opening it and scheduling in what that is. Difficult conversation. Send the email, send the card, schedule the massage, right? Whatever it is. Exercise. Go grocery shopping. Cook a healthy meal. Take some meetings off your calendar. Take some social events off your calendar. What do you need? Schedule in sleep. Schedule in a nap. What do you need? And then seeing in this moment now if we can release that practice, bring our attention back into the room. How are you doing? What are you noticing? Feel free to use the chat window, comments, questions. Noticing the time. So in this, as you're using the chat window, I'll just invite us into these reminders of, these are some of the self-compassion practices from Kristen Neff and Chris Germer. Again, that comes out of, they have so many beautiful resources, and I think we have them in our on our website as resources, on this particular learning management system as resources. I just got the this one I love. It's teaching the Mindful Self-Compassion program. They also have a Mindful Self-Compassion workbook. It's yummy. But basically, we're just, when we notice this inner critic, whether it's the inner critic or an experience that we had where we felt attacked, or we're dealing with loved ones, struggles, work challenges, whatever, right? Whenever you notice pain and suffering, we're grounding ourselves in our mindfulness practice. We're bringing the breath to soothe the reactive amygdala so that we can bear witness to our own pain and suffering. And then we might want to validate that, connect with common humanity. Maybe we can name it, maybe we can't. Maybe it remains yuck. See if we can offer soothing touch, soothing words, just like we would a best friend. And then ask, what do you need? What do you need to hear? What do you need to do? See if you can give your permission to do that, as long as it doesn't harm you or others. Now, remembering that, as our email into this course invited us, self-indulgent behavior is not self-compassion behavior. It's self-indulgence. It's not the same thing. Yeah. So there are many, many ways to practice self-compassion. We practice these notice and name, common humanity, and soothing words. Interrupting the story is that practice of noticing. Have you ever noticed that, like, when you're in your pain and suffering, and then you start to create this story out of it? Right? Remember, the mind is a storytelling machine. Like, oh, I bet not only she hates me, but all of those people hate me. Oh, and look, she's whispering now. She's probably telling them to hate me. Like, we just go into this full-blown story, and it just feeds our our inner critic, it feeds our inner doubt, it feeds our pain and suffering, right? So just interrupt the story like, whoop, storytelling mind, oops, I see you, I see you. And lots of practices that unfortunately at this point in time, we don't have opportunities to go into in this practice, and those practices are on your course practice part. So in the Rushing to Yoga website, there are resources and there are practices. And when you click on that, you'll see, if you scroll down, there's all sorts of practices. If you scroll down, there's direct links to Kristen Neff's site, and there are just a number of her self-compassion practices, including loving kindness, soothing touch, vacation image break, the 4-count box breathing, and other breathings. You might do alternate nostril breathing. Mindful eating, like if you want that dark chocolate, grab for that dark chocolate, but like bring your full attention to eating the dark chocolate, savoring it. The what do I need to hear, do, and see in this moment practice, again, as long as it's not harming you or another. Sometimes just bringing attention to some movement, like if you might be noticing pain and suffering from a particular part of the body, right? Maybe bringing some gentle movement, soothing touch to that part of the body. And then a soothing stone. In Kristen Neff's self-compassion course, she has a soothing stone practice that's on the website that you can check into. It also may be another soothing object, like a photograph of a loved one, or a family heirloom, or perhaps a spiritual symbol that's meaningful to you that you hold and contemplate. So lots of opportunities here. Okay. So as I bring our practice to a close, are there any thoughts or questions? Feel free to use them in the chat window. Some research, lots of links to research what self-compassion practice can create opportunities for. Questions, comments? Right, and if none, there is a self-compassion letter invitation to you. Carol and I will be sending that out if we haven't already. I think it may be already on your course website. I can't remember, sorry. If not, we'll post it there. We'll also be sending a follow-up to you with the self-compassion letter writing exercise. It looks like this. It's from the University of California, San Diego Center for Mindful Compassion, Center for Mindfulness and Center for Mindful Compassion, where I've received my training. This is not a good image, but it gives you an idea. And so the invitation is to schedule some time in, write yourself a self-compassion letter, hand it to a friend or a loved one in a self-addressed stamped envelope, and invite them to mail it to you at some time they think you might want to get it. Invite them to mail it to you sometime you want to get it. So you put it in a self-addressed stamped envelope. The students who are directly in the face-to-face course, I will be doing this for you. I will be inviting you to fill out this letter, put it in a self-addressed stamped envelope, handing it to me, and I will send it to you sometime when you least expect it. And the invitation there is to engage in this practice whenever you'd like to. You can even use this at work if you'd like to use the self-compassion letter invitation writing. Okay, so again, our reminders to bring in these practices to our day-to-day. There are some focused formal practices where we actually will schedule some time for, and then there's this informal, bringing a gentle attention to noticing what we're noticing anywhere, anytime, doing anything, and seeing how we might offer kindness to that as well when we notice those moments of our own pain and suffering. All right, thoughts, ideas, questions? I lost the chat window. All right, seeing none, thank you. Thank you all for being here with me. It's such a joy to be on this journey with you. I look forward to seeing you next week. Take good care.